Welcome back. You are still live with Expresso. Now, South African safaris offer an experience like no other in the world. We know this as South Africans. On this World Wildlife Day, we are connecting with some award-winning photographer, Steve Toon, and his wife, Anne, all the way from the UK to chat about their fascination with Southern African wildlife. We get it. We want to know why the rest of the world loves it as much as we do. A very good morning to both of you, Steve and Anne. It's Graham from the Expresso. So good to be connecting with you on the other side of the world. I hope you are both really well. I've got to ask, you're both based obviously in the UK. Let's chat about your fascination with Southern African wildlife. What makes our neck of the woods such a prime destination for wildlife photography in your experience?
Okay, well, how long have you got? It's a place we love and have loved for over 20 years now, and it's mainly all about the wildlife, just that amazing biodiversity, really, which blew us away, coming from a country which isn't fortunate enough like you guys to have such a wide selection of species. But it's not just the wildlife.
No, I mean, you've got amazing landscapes, such a diversity of habitats, and it's very accessible as well. You know, that you've got national parks which are amazing, and so pretty much everybody can afford to see wildlife in and out of the parks. You've just got so much of it, really.
Yeah, the weather helps massively. It's really cold here this morning.
I'm sorry, it's probably going to be about 32 degrees here in Cape Town this morning, just to rub it in. It might be there already. Now, obviously, the lions are the rock stars in this space. They get a lot of attention from wildlife photographers, and rightly so. Obviously, massively beautiful creatures. But I've got to ask, what are some of the lesser known, of the less famous animals that you love photographing here? What makes them unique and so compelling to hone in on?
Well, we really enjoy photographing pretty much everything and anything, but some of the small creatures that can be really fascinating, things like mongoose, meerkats, even ground squirrels, which is so often overlooked, especially the animals that are sociable, because they're always interacting, there's always behaviour going on, so that always makes for interesting photographs.
They behave like people quite a lot, so you can kind of engage with them, and you kind of, people can see themselves reflected in some of the comical things they do, or when they get angry with each other, so that's really cool to photograph.
You also have amazing bird life. I mean, nearly 1,000 species of bird in southern Africa, and we love photographing birds. There's so much variety there.
It's hard to...
Yeah, I know. You point the lens in any direction and you're going to capture something. And I love the fact with wildlife photography, it's often those photos where we almost, in a way, personify the animal, or we're able to, as you say, identify a trait or something that feels human in them. Now, you've written and photographed hundreds of articles for dozens of magazines and newspaper publications, literally across the world now. And you have campaigned on some pretty important conservation issues, some that are front and center here, like rhino poaching. How have you seen your photography and photography from others in this space help to influence this fight? Do you feel that you've got a weapon that you can use in this war?
Well, we hope so. I mean, I suppose to some extent it's an act of faith, because you're never entirely sure how much good you're doing. But images allow people to engage with subjects and stories that can be quite challenging. You know, attractive pictures can draw people in to an article, for example. And we try and target particularly people who aren't, we're not preaching to the converted. We'll try and target articles for magazines that apply to all sorts of people, maybe in-flight magazines that are read by people from all over the world who don't know so much about these stories, and also children.
Over there in South Africa, the issues get raised maybe a little bit more than they do over here. So the great thing for us is we can come there, get the pictures, talk to people, get the stories, and then come home and explain to people a little bit more, you know, below the headline about these stories, that they just see a little bit on the news, but they don't know all the detail and complexities. So that's something that we're able to do. But it's great because we like reaching the younger generation, and sometimes kids do projects at schools. So keep raising awareness is really, really important, and photography is key to that. It really is.
I think also... Sorry, go on.
Yeah, no, go ahead, Steve.
There's a couple of more tangible projects, I suppose, that we could point to. Where there's something called Remembering Wildlife, which is a series of amazing coffee table books that have been produced with pictures donated by top wildlife photographers, and that project has raised around about $1 million
Wow.
straight into conservation projects. So that's something more tangible, I guess. And you've also got a fantastic initiative in South Africa called Wild Shots Outreach, which is engaging young people from disadvantaged communities in wildlife photography, teaching them the basics and getting them engaged with wildlife and conservation. And I think, you know, young people are the key to the future.
Yeah,
so
inspiring the next generation is so important because you've got to hand over that baton. So, yeah.
Oh, completely. I mean, that's one of the biggest kind of battle lines that have been drawn in the conservation efforts here in South Africa is that generational lag. And how do we get young people who are going to be the custodians, as you said, of this wild space in the future, get them to feel and appreciate the wonder of nature. And that's what you capture in your pictures. If I could ask you for one very quick tip to become a brilliant wildlife photographer, what would that be for that person wanting to pick up their camera and get out there and shoot? What must they bear in mind?
I think the most important quality you need is passion for your subject and to try and reflect that in your pictures. You know, it's not a technical exercise, it's a passion project. And so you need to be absolutely passionate and dedicated.
And don't give up. And try to put a bit of yourself in a picture, not just take the shot of the subject. Think about what it is about that subject that turns you on and try and get that into the picture and tell stories. Really important to try and tell a story in an image.
And there is no more important story to tell right now. Thank you for being such fierce advocates for our part of the world, our little slice of heaven, and we appreciate it so much. And we cannot believe that there are people right across the globe that are being such fierce ambassadors for what we've got here to protect. So thank you so much to both of you. We look forward to you coming down to our neck of the woods and maybe showing us some photos firsthand here in studio. We'd love to host you.
That would be great.
lovely.
We'd love to.
Thank you for having us.
Oh, an absolute pleasure to Steve and Anne. A massive thank you for doing the work that they do every day. So many memories going to be made by going on safari in our own backyard. And of course, the broader Africa. We are so blessed. Definitely getting the wanderlust right now.